Alright, hello guys. Today we have another Frontline replay analysis. This one might be a little shorter than others because there aren't as many interesting things that I want to talk about in this video, but there is one thing. I played this game against these high-level opponents. Let me just make sure of one thing, that the spectators are enabled actually. Yeah, spectators should be enabled this time. So we were in a high-level game. We have Flash, and I can never figure out what this guy's pronunciation of this name is. Malady. Malady? I think Malady is how you pronounce it. So I'm going to look at mainly this portion of the game, these top 6 players, and I will talk about what happens in this game, because there is a little interesting thing that happens in this game, and by interesting I mean I make a little bit of an oopsie, and I still make an interesting decision that maybe you can consider in your games, because I want you to understand some of my thought processes here. So I'm going for a safe opening. I have a sentry at my base. If I pause this and I like hover over an enemy with it, I can show you the range. If you can see on that range of the the sentry, it actually covers my entire base right there, and a tick can't actually get in and do any damage. When I'm playing against these high-level enemies, I know they really like their tick micro and stuff, so like I'm just like a little concerned about that. Maybe that's not the right call because they are more concerned with the reclaim in the center. Personally, I felt like I don't really care. I'm like, I'm in the top lane. I'm just gonna focus on my lane. I'm gonna send my a fast blitz over because I don't think they'll. I was thinking, oh, green is just gonna focus over here. I'm gonna send a blitz over and see what I can get. So I'm doing vehicle opening. He's gonna do a safe. I'm doing safe mechs caps everywhere here just to be safe because these high-level players are pretty dangerous. I don't see anything here. Let me go to player view, actually. Don't see anything. I want to hit the back of the mechs, but I see the commander, so I'm like, all right, I gotta get out. I also saw the, what do you call it? The construction turret animation, so I knew he was attacking me. I actually send it over down this way. I think this mech's... Okay, yeah, we do get one, and then I think I miss micro this one here, because I'm not paying attention. This one barely... Oh, no, we do get that one. Okay, so 2 mexes were actually destroyed. I didn't realize that. That was actually really good damage for the first one. But we had stuff coming in, and if I recall, my blitzes were not just out. Yeah, they weren't out just yet. So I had to like ping my ally to cover me for that. But I did get damage, and we didn't lose anything of significance. I don't think he was here just yet. Okay, this is where I sort of misplay. So I'm using my commander. I'm like going up here. Like I want a turret on this midline position, right? So I'm trying to bully his commander away. I want him to be a fearful because I want him to. I was trying to play a game of chicken with him, and unfortunately he took the trade, and this was better for him on the whole because I didn't have my blitzes in a bunch at the front just yet. So unfortunately my blitzes here don't fight too favorably, and I don't micro them excellently. So they get and his ally, or he shows up, and the commander's there first. So he gets on top of the body, and the reservoir's there, and so we're losing. Okay, we're losing. We're losing the body. We're losing a huge amount of reclaim. Okay, we're losing both of the commanders. But here's my thought process. This fight was so ugly that there's no way the enemies don't go T2. They have 4K metal. They're going to go T2. And fortunately, I have an engineer on the field here. And that means I'm actually getting a little bit of this income here. Let me just go back to 1x speed. Yeah, that means I get some of the income here. So I keep trying to push a little bit, but I see the commander there, and I saw he's eating both the bodies. So that's 4K gone. It's completely hopeless, right? Well, actually, if you look at their income at their bases, they actually didn't go to T2 just yet. They also overflowed. They overflowed all that metal. 4,000 overflowed. Okay, that meant it went to the team, which is still pretty bad for me, right? But when it overflows, the signal of the reclaim, like the signal, the impact of this reclaim is diluted across the entire map. So this loss wasn't actually as bad. And because I'm getting some of the reclaim here, it's almost as if it doesn't matter because they're hit at max cap. They can't they're not using it. So I decide, you know what the play is? If they're gonna play passively because they think they got all of that reclaim, I'm going to play passively too, and I'm going to go for fast T2. Because if I think they're going to play passively, I'll play passively. And that way, they don't get an insane lead. I think once I get my engineer up to here, I realize it's time to go T2, because I also have my own max cap. So it's actually not that bad. Now this player does what, I will talk about this. Notice how in the center, it's still midline here. Okay, I believe up here, I get that, and then it should be starting soon. What do you call it? The factory should be starting soon here. The T2 factory. So I realized, yeah, there it is, okay. I had max bank anyways, because I got a lot of the reclaim anyways. At least 1,000 from that. And so, that's actually not that bad. In the middle here, the enemy lost to the red player here, Flash here. Actually, I think Pink was there as well, so, you know, that's happening. My front is a little weak, but I have my turret, or anti-turret option here, and it's pushing down these, you know, these sentries, because he's not committing to T2, well, Blue is committing to T2, so his presence is a little weaker than it should be. This guy hasn't gone T2 just yet, which is just strange, because he had all that metal. And so I'm thinking, they're going to play passively. And lo and behold, they're actually playing passively despite only one of them going T2, because I think he was waiting for the T2 to come up here. So he was just massing his troops, Green was. But that's okay, because we actually have the turrets up here and a defensive position, and my ally had his comm here. So even if they pushed, it wouldn't be that terrible. And look, we lost 4k metal, and we were still relatively even. Now this guy, he does eco like a madman. He pumped out these units, and then he just completely ignores the game and just goes to tech up as much as possible. Meanwhile, at the base, I'm also getting my engineers out, my T2s, and I'm going to share it with both Pink and Red. I actually accidentally queued these up first, so the engineer was cancelled, which was a little bad, but that's all right. It was just going to my team. I'm still getting my stuff here. So I still don't have that much units at the front. Everything was basically paused. I ate my factory to go T2 faster. And because Blue's not making units, Red is, and that means he's able to slowly take over this center area with help of Pink, who's also making units. I'm the one on the team going T2 for my team here. So Pink now has his T2. Green had T2 earlier, right? But it's not as bad as you would think for losing 4,000 metal. So I knew they were passive. I knew Blue was going to be passive. He just had his round of pawns, and now he's just passive. He has no impact at this point. There's no impact. That allows my allies to take this circle here, take the crater. And I knew Green was going to be passive too, because he wanted to go T2. I think he's more focused on getting his mexes up in this game. But I was thinking, oh, they're both T2. They're just going to play passively. And that's exactly what happened. So that means I get my T2 up, and we're not that far behind, actually. Look, we have the circle now, and that means we also get the reclaim. I do start making just a few of the T2 units, just to be sure that even if they stay T1, I would still have more units at the front here. But yeah, we made it to T2 despite losing 4k both comms at the beginning of the game, and that was why I thought this was such an interesting replay. Now, Blue had teched up, just continuously teched up, and he reaches astronomical heights in eco. But look at this. Look. He lost the front line. He lost the ground. The ground is gone. This is ours. And do you know what that means? That means we have time and space. This is time and space. Time and space up here. Time and space. Green didn't go T2 as fast as I did, actually. So that means he's actually slightly behind me. All right, 33 to 45. Yeah, he got the T2 engineer, but he didn't start like building all the eco afterwards, the T2. So that means he's behind on both tech level and eco here. I think he also has fewer mexes, which is unfortunate for him. But then my T2 artillery is also to deny this area, right? So on a limited scope, I'm winning against him, right? But on a macro scale, Blue is actually going to eco like mad, right? He will outweigh the 3 of us here. He'll be equal to the 3 of us, but it was time and space that we got through that allows us to get the right tech units to deal with it. Okay, it's time to... I think I forgot to point this out. Let me just hide the spectator chat here. I remember rewatching this replay because it was such a strange game. I remember someone pinged the word "huh" like over here. Yeah, they're like, what? When I was losing and I went T2, and I thought that was so funny, and I had to talk about that. It was like, what? But look, it's because I knew they were going to be greedy, so why can't I be greedy? If they're gonna be greedy, I'll be greedy. And that way, it's not like I'll draw like 2 graphs, right? Okay, so in one graph, let's see. So let's say it's like even, like two lines even, right? The battle happened, I lose the comm here. If I stay T1, I go like this, right? If I stay T1. If they go T2, it's like this. Right? It's like game over for me. All right? Whereas if wait, this is probably a bad graph. Let me redo this. Okay. So it's both going up to the same point, okay? They get the reclaim here, right? So that means they go up. And then if they go T2, after a few moments, they'll go like this. And then they'll go back to normal. If I stay T1, I'll just go like this, right? So this is the reclaim, right? That gives them the power spike. Then after spending the income, right? They get another power spike from getting T2 here, okay? That's what would have happened if I stayed T1. Whereas if what happened this game is they got the power spike, right? But I immediately decided I'm gonna go T2. Okay, so then it's like this. That's when they hit T2, and then it's like this. If you notice, because I mean, the scale of this isn't great, but the point I'm trying to get across is this distance here is gonna be the same distance here, right? But it's the relative power level. Do you see how this relative power level is a lot more than this difference? So this little difference here is a lot more different. I'm mixing up my words. I'm sorry, guys. The 4,000 reclaim there becomes a lot less relevant up here. Does that make sense? In a later time frame. So that's why I decided to go T2, because I knew they would be passive. They would try to go T2, which helps both my allies get to T2 faster as well, because I was the one that built the engineers for them here. Okay, hopefully that explained it in a way that made sense. It's like it's a matter of proportion. The fixed 4,000 metal difference is proportionally less later in the game. So if I just push it to later in the game, the impact is not as bad. Plus, you know, they overflowed. So you gotta spend your metal, guys. That's like a key part of this game. Just always spend your bank. I spend my bank so much, I always like, I try to spend as much as possible, so I always am below on build power and power itself. I will talk about just like a little bit about this vehicle, how vehicles do really well against Sheldons, if you micro them correctly, and then I'll just discuss about some of the general game things. We break through here, so we're a little bit lucky here, but I want to just focus on this like little me versus green here. So maybe it's actually a little bit of equal on income here. Don't do this, by the way, when you have 5 sentries right next to each other. They would just get AoE'd down, and that's exactly what happens this game. So he is playing it right. He's like microing backwards. But in just a moment, I'll show you why. Sheldons, yeah, they're getting obliterated because Mausers are really good against Sheldons. The T2 artillery are really good against Sheldons if they trade hits. If they just flat out fight each other, they do better. Mausers have, what is it? Like 150 less cost, about, and they do about the same or greater damage. Their DPS is 92, theirs is 66. So if you just straight up have them fight each other, the Mausers win the trade every day. Yeah. The artillery, the T2 vehicle artillery will win every day unless the Sheldon's micro. But unfortunately, it's so hard to keep microing all the time that my dudes are just eating the Sheldons. Okay. We lost this ground, but that's time, okay? It took time for the blue player to do this, and that means red is now prepared. He's ecoed behind the space, and he will be able to get a wave of units in time. Did I say micro behind this? Well, he macroed behind this, and that means he'll have units in time if he wanted to push this way. But instead he goes upwards, right? And it's the same thing, it's the same thing. Red has units out to deal with this now. Because of all this space that was made. Because he went T2, so that he gave that space up, and so we took that space back. And then we gave up the space, so red can get diffusion, and that means now we have the time to get units out to defend for this. Also, red does amazing high-level game stuff, EMPs, just pro player things, you know, just your average pro player thing, just not a big deal. Just your average high-level game play. I was a little panicked because I didn't know if they would have that at that point. I was hoping they would, and indeed they did. So I tried to send units down, but my units are slower than Bean, so it didn't really matter. And so I just send them back up here. Okay, he gets another group of them. I think I should go to my view because I don't see them. They're under the radar jammer, but I don't know exactly. Wait, hold on, I actually need to pause here. I think it's because this guy has line of sight on them. Yeah, there we go. I think yeah, this guy has line of sight on them. The radar bot has a long range to see, and so that's how I'm able to view those. Okay, let me get that back here. There we go. And then the Mausers just eat these guys. Poor Sheldons. Although I do believe this game, I should have built more of them. I didn't build enough of them. I should have built more Mausers. And that's why, even though I'm getting great trades, he has just enough Sheldons to put my Mausers into such a low number that he wins in quotation marks the battle. Temporarily. Just because I don't have enough Sheldon or Mausers just yet, because I was focused on other units to build, like the tanks here. These guys, yeah. There's like you see, there's a whole bunch of them. I should have built Mausers. Each one of these would be 3 Mausers. So this army would have been like absolutely outnumbered. So wrong tech choice here. If you're fighting Sheldons, Mausers beat Sheldons. They don't do too bad if you micro them correctly in, and the opponents don't pay attention here. So I'm going to speed up. So I see a lot of stuff, so I'm like, okay, let's chill out. Let's get units and see if we can catch them off guard here. And yes, indeed, we catch them off guard, and those guys are bye-bye. Catch them off guard. So what I'm waiting for, actually, is I want to win a couple fights here, get a ball of units, and then run it into their base. That was my plan, right? And once you destroy the base, you win the lane. Like, you destroy the opponent, you win. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm testing their defenses right here. Look, this just goes down instantly. Don't do that. Force these guys to waste shots. I believe they get a good spy bot attack on my units here. Yeah, that was good. Which slows down my advance here. But pink is also massing units as well, so we're basically gonna try to coordinate. Space and time, blue attacked. He lost, so that means red now is able to take the whole the crater back. Bad micro by me, I guess. Yeah, I'm good, but not perfect. You know, I make mistakes. Okay, I will talk about how at this point blue has macroed like a madman, and he's at 200 income. Combined, we are just about equal to blue, but that time and space, that space lets us be able to respond to whatever he can send. If I recall, Flash gets the right unit composition to defeat what he sends out. Yeah, I'll play without the my point of view because I don't think it's too necessary. I didn't notice this because, you know, you're playing, but I guess red took a bad fight here. Yeah, bad fight. Unfortunate. Lost all his units. But that's still space. Okay, at this point, we have the clump. I see like this clump, and it's like, it's go time. We take a good fight, we push in, and then we destroy the base. That's the plan. Send them in. I know he doesn't, I have a feeling that green doesn't have enough to stop this. Yep, his Sheldons are getting eviscerated, and now I know that it's time to go in. Unfortunately, I believe this commander is ready for me, for my teammate. Yeah, gets out all those units, and then blue, if blue wasn't here, this base would have died anyway. So blue was the critical piece in stopping this push here. So perhaps you could say the bad fight here led to this, right? If blue was tied up in a battle here, I think we would have been able to march in and destroy this base. It's just high-level things. They're able to respond. So, unfortunately, that fight was really bad for me. I was really hoping to take out that base. So, unfortunately, now we're going to have to be on the back foot here, because we also gave up like 7,000 metal here, which was not fun. They also get the commander wreck here, so not great for me. But we have control of the mid crater here. And that is time, that is space, because his intention's up here. He's concerned of additional attacks, so he's not spending units to go down here. Oh, sorry. He's also preparing his T3, trying to leverage his income lead to try to attack. But he got this income lead because he gave up all this space, actually. He gave all this space up to get this income lead. He did have a slight lead from the reclaim, but he overflowed that. And without the units on the front, you lose this space. So you have to take this space back with your income lead, or else you'll be on the back foot. And because we delayed that mass difference, that reclaim distance, to the late game by going T2 early, the difference isn't that great. His income lead isn't like as great as it needs to be, or as great as it could have been, because we went T2 early. Now, unfortunately, after this point, I'm kind of a potato, just to be honest. I don't like particularly fight that well. I think I really needed to build more artillery. That would have been a better choice against Shivas here, is the artillery, because these guys don't do too great against Shivas. But I was thinking, okay, I want to just have units in front because I see a lot of spam coming in. All that time and getting T2 early allows my red player to get his signature sniper bots. Flash loves his sniper bots. And sniper bots do really well against Shivas. So just by going T2 early, we get the time and the space needed for my allies to get the right unit comp. We're behind on eco, but we still are alive and we can still hold, and they can't push into us that easily. See, this attack is getting repelled. You would have thought that 4K mass lead or reclaim, the two commanders, would have caused this guy to snowball out of control. But if I just mirror his action and sort of chase his strategy, just be greedy when he's greedy, then, you know, that lead is lost or isn't as great. That's the whole point that I'm trying to get across here. Yeah, red now has his correct unit. This game got pretty laggy. There's a lot of stuff happening on the map, and there's a lot of spam, so unfortunately it was really laggy. Also, for some reason, I think this player, I'm not sure, one of the players gets really laggy, their internet goes down or whatever, and it slows down a lot. And during that time, the mid is able to break through here, giving us the win, right? But regardless, we have the right unit composition here, and it's entirely, like, I don't think they could have broken it through here. Now it is 2v3 here, which is a little bad for us, but they're still not breaking through here, and that's their star player being stopped, I guess. Yeah, they can't break through. We have the right unit composition to deal with these units here, and I am putting tanks in the front to deal with the spam, help deal with the spam. Yeah, they just can't push in despite their massive income lead. 300 versus 70, 90, 70, 100, and 100. So like 300 versus 300, right? But, I mean, green's also here, and he still can't push in. We have the right units to deal with this. Time and space, time and space. Oh yeah, pawn wave. I think that just... I don't think that actually does it. The breakthrough comes in through the middle here. I'm going to zoom out here, and this is very laggy. Not sure why, but this one was very laggy for some reason. Yeah, I mean, he's massing his units, which is the right call, but we have the right unit composition. Red has the right unit composition to deal with this. And if I recall, 3 players are over here slowly trying to catch up to their income, so the income lead isn't too great for right side. Yeah, if anything, we're actually greater on the left side because our bottom side was doing quite well. Which is a little fortunate for our side, I guess. It's the bottom side that helped us win. I'm just showcasing how we're able to hold up here. Yeah. I took a lot of bad fights up here. I definitely should have made more Mausers. I just decided I'm going to frontline for these very slow and vulnerable bots here, and I'll just build a lot of tanks. Because my ally over here was also going snipers here, so double sniper comps, so I'm like, alright, we need someone to get the vision, to harass them, and to break through if we win the fight, so I just decide to spam tanks. And here I start to spam the ticks. I believe sometime soon, the mid will break through, and that'll be game. But, I mean, you can see how, like, we're holding off this high-level player just because we had the time. They had the lead, but they weren't able to close it with it. Yeah, all my tanks got obliterated. Tanks don't deal great against Shivas. The Mausers and the Starlights do much better against them. Yeah, I believe here is when they start pushing in and the game is closed out. I mean, he gave up this middle section, and that's just giving a lot of income to our side here. He never sent any units through here. I mean, there are some defenses here as well, though. A couple of pop-ups. Like, despite that income lead, you know, you can't close the game. That's kind of bad. If you're blue, you really want to close the game because you are their high skill player. If you're red, you know, you also want to close the game, but you also want to tie up the blue high skill player as well. Maybe looking back, I could have sent some units down here. I don't know. But I was content with having our control here, and I didn't want to draw attention to this area here. It should be sometime soon when the game ends, actually. This goes on for a lot longer than I remember, actually. But yeah, well, like, we're catching up on the income here. Somewhat. Catching up somewhat. Oh yeah, here's when the lag happens, and soon after the lag, we win. Yeah, we just push through here. The bottom team, the other star player on our team, is able to win us the game. Yeah, it's just so laggy here that maybe I should just go 1x speed. It's still laggy over here. I mean, like, look at this. This is just a lot of grunts. Oh my god, 400 plus grunts. That is a lot of grunts. And a lot of air stuff as well. It's just so, that's why it's creating so much lag. For me, at least. I don't have the frame rate. Yeah. I mean, but blue, he should have broke through with that 2-comm lead, you know? Okay, and then they resign. Yeah, you see the resign call here. All right. So that was why I wanted to cover this. This was a little bit of a weird game. The reason I wanted to cover it was because of that early T2 was how we were able to stay in the game. We were able to stay in the game despite having such a horrendous start. Just because you go T2 and you mirror their greed. If they're going to play passively, you should play passively. If they're going to be greedy, you should be greedy. And that way, like, their lead wasn't that great in the later stages of the game. The early game lead wasn't enough. And so they weren't able to close the game here. And that meant that whoever won the bottom side would determine the game's win or loss. And we fortunately won that side here. All right. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this rather strange Frontline video. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully maybe you learned something and maybe you can implement it in your games. I won't guarantee it wins you the game because obviously if the bottom side went the opposite way, this would have lost. But I would have made a point of how we held here. All right. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.